On this week's show, Atheon is getting a hot fix. You no longer can push him off the map. And Destiny PvP Planet? Could this really become true? Find out all this and more coming up.
You're listening to Destiny the Show. Welcome, Guardians.
Ditty, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. It is still freezing because it's the fall time now.
And what's the temperature there?
It's in like 60s, 70s.
Oh, brisky.
Mid 70s, you know.
Wow. I think we're in the 50s right now, so. I was going to check on the phone, but no. How's school?
Pretty good. You know, still chugging along.
Yes, midterms are... They're here, aren't they?
Midterms are around the corner. That's no bueno.
No, but the break is coming soon, too.
Yes, that's true.
You don't really travel anywhere because your family is close by, right?
Yeah, they're just a 20-minute drive.
Nice, that's not bad.
Yeah.
What'd you play this week?
Well, it was a lot of League because
Worlds.
I had to use the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sanix, she was playing the new Alien Isolation game all week, and she beat that last night, and she said it was awesome.
Nice. I heard it was pretty good. Long is what I heard, though.
Compared to the last one, dude, oh man.
Yeah.
Aliens Colonial Marines is like the worst game ever to Aliens fans. And like this one was actually really good, apparently. So
Is she a big Aliens fan?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Huge.
Sanic likes zombies and aliens, man. That's pretty funny.
Yep, that's how it is around here. She's forcing me to watch The Walking Dead, which I'm, I don't complain too much because it's a good show, but I'm the kind of person who can't really watch that show while I'm eating dinner,
Yeah.
But she doesn't care. She'll eat steaks, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Nice. In the world of Destiny, what'd you do? I think you were playing with the Scout this morning, weren't you? Doing some PvP.
I did. The Rumble is the featured playlist this week, and I just hopped into some Rumble matches. And it was actually the first time I've played PvP since the Scout Rifle buff.
Yeah.
It's noticeable.
Yes.
And we were talking about this in the pre-show, but you said the auto rifles you didn't really feel it?
No, I don't think so. But Scouts definitely, if you've got that accuracy. We'll talk about it, a little bit later. But you were liking it for Rumble, which surprises me because that is a lot of times you have to shoot, then turn around immediately to shoot the next guy pushing it on you.
Yeah, you have to have the right setup if you want to reload quickly.
Yeah.
Have gauntlets that help you reload faster. But usually I would just kill one or two people with the Scout Rifle, then switch over to the Fusion Rifle to finish off anybody who came up behind me.
Yeah. But
that's the thing about Rumble, man. You got to be careful about people who just run around with shotguns and Fusion Rifles.
Rumble, it can be complete chaos if it's that really small Mars map. Oh my gosh. It's like you spawn in looking at people most of the time.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I played some Destiny this week. I played Counter-Strike Go. Last couple weeks, I've been playing Counter-Strike Go just here and there. I don't know. Trying to itch that shooter bug right now. I've not been... StarCraft made me mad, dude. I got to the point where the second account that I got for the teaching channel, it basically got to the same level as when I stopped playing, which was high platinum, low diamond, and I'm done. I can't... You cannot play that game part-time and still have a happy, existence. It's just too brutal. It makes me feel like I'm the scum of the earth, just how much I lose and stuff, so...
Yeah, same thing happened to me with League. I got to Gold 3, and then I lost 7 games in a row and was immediately demoted, so... oh well.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to stop this tilt before it happens. And in Destiny this week, I had the most fun in freaking forever. Well, last 2 weeks, really. I've just been going super hard into the Crucible. Haven't talked much about it, but let's talk about the news right now, as we have some cool stuff to cover, and we can talk about PvP a little bit later. News! So, coming up this week, for our Nightfall Strike, we're going to start covering each of the Nightfall Strikes every week so that you all are prepared. You can it's Tuesday, so you get your new set of updates, new set of Nightfalls. What is it this week, Ditty?
This week's Nightfall Strike is the Summoning Pits, and the modifiers are going to be Epic, which means heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies appear in greater numbers. Angry, which is minions of the darkness won't flinch even after massive damage. Light Switch, minions of the darkness deal much more melee damage. Arc Burn, which is, what is it? Where is it? It's not here. There it is. Arc damage from any source is greatly increased. And then Nightfall, if all players die, you will be returned to orbit.
Nice. Classic Bungie right there. And you included a link. There's a big community of people who are working towards soloing all the Nightfalls and who put guides together. Is that right?
Yeah, over on the Destiny subreddit, reddit.com/r/Destiny the game, every week on Tuesday, there is a very detailed post about soloing the week's Nightfall strike. And this gives you like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 levels of detail with a video explanation as well and a video walkthrough so you guys can visually see the points that he's talking about. And it's really helpful for those of you who don't necessarily have the people online and you want to go ahead and try it and do it solo. So all of the strikes are possible solo, but they just take a really long time and you have to have the patience for it.
You know, now that you bring this up, I'm level 27. I want to try this, but I feel like the summoning pits is like a freaking hard way to do this because that's the moon, right? That's the moon strike.
It's Fogoth. It's not necessarily it's whenever you enter an area, basically,
yes,
and the enemies spawn, you like backtrack into the tunnel before that area, and you kind of like funnel them in and kill them one by one. It just takes a long time, but it's one of the easier ones to solo, I think.
Really? Oh my gosh! See, that's
don't take my word for
strike.
it. I mean, I've never done it, so it just seems like one of the easier ones.
The wave when you get 3 wizards coming out, that wave is going to be ridiculous. If you can take care of that cleanly, then Fogoth is not a huge deal. But the difficulty with that one for me was always when the 3 wizards come out, and then when the knights come out who have the swords. There's like 3 of them that drop, and it's a little bit overwhelming, especially if like your 2 teammates are just focusing Fogoth the whole time. Like, guys, trash mobs, please.
Yeah, it's when you get to Fogoth, you actually don't need to worry about those guys. You just take on Fogoth. It's all explained in the post that is linked in the show notes.
I think I'm going to try this week, actually. I'm either going to come crying back next week or with victory in hand. So moving on, Bungie admits that they nerfed the Mythoclast too much in PvE, and they intend to fix this. So they did a 30% damage reduction for the Mythoclast. For listeners who don't know, this is the exotic that you get randomly at the end of the Vault of Glass. It's supposedly the rarest weapon on hard mode, rarest weapon in the game. Sort of was the most coveted weapon, very powerful in both PvP and PvE, but it received a 30% damage nerf. And owners of the weapons weren't happy about this. One of our listeners, when we get to it, came from Twitter, actually had a Mythoclast. Last week, I was arrogant enough to say, I don't think any of our listeners have one. Some dude like tweeted us, and it's pretty cool. So they want to make it a little bit stronger in PvE, but they also want it to stay balanced in PvP. I don't know how they're going to do this because the initial nerf was because it was insanely good in PvP, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you do that then without separating the two?
Well, I mean, you would have different damage modifiers for PvP and PvE. Basically, like they say they have, like
yes.
Scout rifles can one-shot people in PvE, right? And then when you go into the PvP, it's 3 headshot kill, right? Something like that, where the damage actually matters.
Certain stats from the weapon carry over, but the damage itself doesn't always carry over.
Exactly.
But it's kind of unclear, because you and I follow this pretty closely. I know there's somebody listening who's like, these guys have it totally wrong. Oh my gosh, dislike this video now. But I really wish it was a little bit more transparent in regards to this is how it works in multiplayer, and this is how it works in single player. They're 2 separate places,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And what is the giant sin of having it being balanced differently in Crucible in contrast with single player? I don't see it,
Yeah, I don't either.
But everybody with a Mythoclast, Hopefully that update is coming soon. They say they have bigger things already in, where did I put it? I already wrote it down. They have more substantive, that is not a word that I wrote in the show notes. They've got another update in certification right now, which slows down their ability to make changes to the live game. But rest assured, that Mythoclast update is coming soon. And that also brings us to the Atheon Hot Fix. Did you read this, Ditty?
Yeah, I actually saw a video of people who were doing this. It's hilarious.
So describe it to me. They were pushing Atheon, which is the final boss of the Vault of Glass, for listeners who don't know. They were pushing him off of his platform, right?
Yeah, it was like a Voidwalker warlock, and he would get behind Atheon as he spawned, and then used his Nova Bomb to like push it off. And since you have like unlimited super, you would do this like 3 or 4 times, and then he would actually just fall off the map, and you would beat Atheon in less than 2 minutes. Like, really?
That's
Come on,
awesome.
guys.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, but now that they're patching it.
They, of course, are patching it. They have added what they call, I love this word, baby bumpers to areas where players could knock Atheon out of the environment. They view this as a bug and are addressing it quickly. That's pretty creative, to be honest. Like, for speedrunners, congratulations, your time is like now going to stand forever.
Yeah.
Unless the runners are like, that's not fair now. That's pre-baby bumper Atheon, not post-baby bumper Atheon route. We've been working on that.
2 separate ladders.
Yeah, a different route. They're also switching time stream. So if you've watched The Vault of Glass, this is probably the thing you'll recognize the most. Atheon teleports 3 players out of your 6 players during the fight. And he does this multiple times. What he does now, like currently, is he teleports the 3 closest players to Atheon. But they're switching it to be 3 random players. Bungie has stated they wanted it to be 3 random players from the very beginning instead of the 3 closest. There is some backlash about this. There are people who are like, this makes the fight more random. And then there are, of course, the people who think this is going to make you be more on your toes and ultimately a better raider as you have to deal with chaos more effectively. I sort of side on the fence that it's nice that they're making changes. I'm not a big Vault of Glass runner, so I don't think I have much of a leg to stand on. But what do you think, Ditty?
I think the way it is currently, like taking the 3 closest, it allows raiders to actually strategize. Okay, we want you 3 to be taken.
Yes.
So that we can deal out all the damage.
Yes.
But now that they're adding more random, I do agree with the people that, you have to be on your toes. A raid is not supposed to be as strategic as, I don't really want to use this analogy, but as chess,
Yeah.
where you plan out every single move. It's a first-person shooter action game. You should be on your toes and react to certain situations as they happen. It does ultimately make you a better reactionary, strategic player.
Yeah, that element of chaos is really what I think stands out right there. I just like that they're doing a lot of updates to the game. The fact that we have talked now for 14 weeks about this game, and there's is this 15? I think this is week 15, actually.
This is 15, yep.
Okay, every single week there's been multiple changes to the game, almost to the degree of a true MMO. The fact that they're adding things and switching things enough keeps it fresh. Now, they might not be switching enough to make the negative players go, oh, I'm coming back, I'm so happy they're doing this and that. But for the players who are enjoying the game, I find this to be nice. If you're somebody who... This will probably break up the monotonous, bit of the Vault of Glass. If you've gotten your setup down pat stat like most of the regular runners have, this is something that's going to throw a new element of surprise. Not that big of a deal, though. The Bungie update. So this is our last piece of news. Not a ton came out this week. I'm going to go through the update, and there really wasn't a lot new. But it touches first on the weapon balancing. They had to explain why they made the Scout a little bit more powerful, and why they made the Auto a little less powerful, and why they nerfed shotguns a little bit. By the way, the shotgun nerf, Ditty, I didn't notice it either. Shotguns, in my opinion, still murder in PvP.
Yeah, I saw it more mainly because I was playing Rumble and it was all close quarters.
Yeah.
But I didn't really play any maps that were long range, people using the shotguns there, so I didn't really notice it.
Yeah, I have a fully upgraded legendary shotgun, and I still can get people outside of melee range. So if that gives you a good idea. And melee range in this game is far, you guys.
Yeah, there's a nice lunge.
Yeah, and it goes further than where your hand stops. You know, you have almost an extra 1.5 feet where you can still hit people with like that shockwave from the actual melee. The Mythoclast, as I said earlier, is getting more tuning. They want to raise its attack value above and beyond other exotics in the game. One of the complaints is that the Mythoclast is no longer considered the best weapon in the game, or it doesn't really carry much weight anymore, since there are other exotic weapons that sort of do the same damage and feel just as powerful, yet are easier to get. Things that can just randomly drop in Crucible lobbies. I actually watched a really good Dotto video this week where he was talking about Crucible and the way exotic drops, and just sort of trying to add more value to exotics in the game, because at this point, the really hardcore players probably have almost every exotic in the game, and they don't feel that coveted when you can get them from random Crucible drops and whatnot. So they're going to try and make the Mythoclast a little bit like a tier above the other exotics in the game, so that they maintain this value, this kind of pedestal feeling. And the timeline for this is soon, as I've said earlier. They're making changes to Atheon. Oh, and instead of the mail sack, this was pretty cool. This week, they had Guardian Radio featured in the spot of the mail sack. Guardian Radio had Dijon. You should check the show out. We'd love other people producing Destiny podcasts and want to share the love. So definitely go check that out. They're doing really well, man. It's nice to see how large this community is. The fact that we have not just one podcast, 2 podcasts. There's many out there for this game right now, which is pretty cool. I don't know. Did you hear it? Did you listen to it?
I listened to a little bit of it, and it's actually the episode 82 of Guardian Radio. It's the 3rd time they've had Deej on, so Deej is really familiar with these guys, and it's awesome that he's so involved in the community.
It's cool. We've got a nice community manager. I mean, it's the worst job ever. Oh my gosh. Okay, fastest leveling guide. You put this in. I'm actually interested in this because I just started a new character. What is this?
So, on the Destiny subreddit, this is where I get all of my Destiny news, by the way, guys, in case you haven't learned. Somebody did a really detailed write-up of leveling up a brand new character. So, say you want to get another character rolling, right? You have your level 30 hunter or whatever, and you want to level up another 30 hunter or whatever. And this is really detailed. It gives you a level-by-level breakdown of what you should be doing each level. So levels 1 through 4, just do story missions on easy. 4 and above, focus on bounties. 18 and above, grind Vanguard and Crucible rep marks to rank 2 and farm those marks. And then it gives you a lot of different videos about just walkthroughs of how to do each step. There's actually spin metal, helium filaments, spirit bloom, and relic iron farming routes videos as well, so you can get those that you can upgrade your weapons a lot quicker. And then how to farm strange coins and ascendant materials, and then event farming. Those are the public events on the different worlds. You know, you can go in a certain circle and you can never stop doing public events basically, and that's really cool. And just props to this dude for writing all this up and providing those links. And it's just really amazing.
That's cool. I'm really looking forward to it because I, last night, started a brand new Titan. It was like the hardest choice ever because I really want a hunter for PvP because I think Blade Dancer is like the coolest thing ever. But at the same time, I think hunter armor, well, it looks cool with the cape. Titans, like when they get to 27 and 8, look freaking insane. They look like RoboCop, you know?
I haven't seen a hunter. You know how Titans and Warlocks have like the translucent bands or whatever? I haven't seen a hunter cape be like transparent at all. And I'm really jealous.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
The little, like, what did you call it? The butt towel on the Titans. Yeah, that's invisible. There's some cool... Oh, I got a flaming armlet for the Warlock, dude. I've had it for a few weeks.
That's what I mean. Like, I haven't seen anything like that for the Hunter.
I don't see anybody with the flaming, like, Warlock thing. You can just buy it outright from one of the people. I can't remember who it is,
That's
actually.
awesome.
I think it's the Vanguard lady. Yeah, probably. All right. Okay, and Destiny PvP Planet idea. This is really cool. Tell our viewers and listeners about it.
Again, this was on the Destiny subreddit. Full credit to them. He's basically just suggesting an open world PvP planet and, quote, reminiscent of early WoW days. It would have high level yellow mobs to make it difficult to just grief people, and entry points in the world would be random so that people could not just focus on murdering players as they showed up. You could still have patrols and public events, but you would be able to fight other players as well as the mobs. And I think this is brilliant. And you really like this idea as well because you're a WoW player. I'm not, but I remember playing RuneScape way back in the day, and there was the area called the Wild, and you had to go through a gate, and you actually got like a skull and crossbones above your head saying, "I'm killable," and people would just go out and just form alliances and just kill anybody who would cross them. And I think this would be really cool in Destiny.
I agree. Like, in terms of factions, I'd want to see factions versus factions. Like, when you step out there, you need to be New Monarchy or Future War Cult or whatever. And it's very clear, like, in that zone, whatever shader is belonging to your faction, maybe that's your entry fee, is like you have to have the shader on, or you have to have worked up enough to get the shader from your faction. So that when you see somebody who's an opposing faction, you tear them up. Or you can just let them be, you can let them farm, continue their quests. Part of the fun of WoW is like, I have to do a quest in that zone. Oh my gosh, and this is a horde. It's like if it's a horde-controlled area and it's really hard to get that quest done, it can be frustrating. We call it, ganking. If your character dies multiple times to the same opponent who's just camping your body, they'd have to put measures in places to kind of avoid that. But so much of the fun, dude, with this game is PvP. And since it's so similar in a lot of ways to an MMO, I cannot tell you how fun it would be if you're like out doing public events, or if you're farming materials or doing bounties. If you just saw like two dudes out there and you're like, I'm going to sneak up on them and take them out. Hard part would be like time to kill. If they're not looking, you could just knock them down right away. So I don't know how you continue the fight. You know what I'm saying? Without respawns that are close by. But I think it's a great idea if they sort of meld and mold this. And I think I think they're talking about it like right now for future Destiny, don't you?
It would be cool. Isn't there one multiplayer map on Mercury?
Mm-hmm.
You could just have Mercury be the PvP planet, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, different faction areas. Yeah. Basically, if you get to like New Monarchy rank 3, you unlock the PvP planet.
Yeah.
And you would just spawn in. Ooh, voice crack, nice. You would just spawn in to the New Monarchy area on the PvP planet, and you can just enter into the planet and explore.
Yes.
And, in the post suggests, you can have free-for-all, and then you can rotate out to have teams in the PvP planet, which would obviously, the way we're thinking, would be factions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be cool if you could go with a fire team of people in your faction, and, for instance, on Earth, this is just an example, on Earth, you can go into Skywatch,
yes,
and you can like take control of that entire building, and anybody who wants to take it from you, they'd have to fight you.
And that's a good idea, because then that building becomes like a PvP zone. They actually, do that in the Blasted Lands and WoW. They've got towers essentially scattered throughout the zone, and the factions take the towers. So right when you enter the zone, you can see, okay, the Horde has 3 out of the 4 towers in this area, and we're going to go take Tower 2 and 3. And it just changes things a little bit. That would be a really cool idea for like Mercury. Maybe the point-to-point stuff, getting to the towers of the PvP little circles, the zones, maybe that you can't be killed. But when you enter in to fight for that tower, it's not the same as sitting in a loading screen or waiting to queue up for a Crucible match,
Yeah.
Be pretty cool. I like that.
And a way to like, we're talking about faction areas, and like you have to walk out of a certain gate to get into basically the wild, the PvP planet. Like the unsafe zone, basically. You can have just hordes of enemies around each area so people just don't camp you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
High yellows or whatever.
Yeah, like devil walkers, just guarding your entrance. That would be one way to avoid people camping spawn points. So I think this would be a really cool idea if they implemented it.
It came from Twitter!
We appreciate your tweets as always. Thank you for continuing to send them. I think a lot of people don't know that the bounty of the week means it's a weekly bounty, which expires because we're still getting pictures of exotics, which we love, but you're just not going to be making that wall of fame for a bounty that's a few weeks old right now. But at Chainsaw Bayonet writes, raid matchmaking, please. Those of us with off schedules and minimal friends list need it. Add a warning screen or something. I don't know what the warning screen is, but raid matchmaking We both have talked about it here, Ditty. We want it, yes?
Yeah, I think the warning screen is like, I don't know. Never mind.
That's okay.
Oh, well.
At G. Dewerson, playing Destiny. Can't wait for a new Destiny the show. Well, it's here today, G. Dewerson. At Richard Crowder sent us a screenshot here of some of the updates from his Bungie companion app. And at the very bottom it says, the Fallen have also retreated from their hold over the Rocket Yard to discuss a new takeover plan. So yeah, they removed the Rocket Yard farming point, which is considered Loot Cave 2.0. I have some good and bad news for people. There is a Loot Cave 3.0 on Mars. If you haven't seen it yet, I love that they're just going point to point and finding the new Loot Cave no matter what happens, right? Have you seen it, Ditty?
Yeah, I've seen. There's one on Venus a while back, and then the one on Mars. It's just hilarious, you know. If you find out where those enemies spawn, you can find a point at which you are safe enough away that they'll just keep respawning. So there's going to be points on every planet, I guarantee you, for loot caves.
They've added a like creepy message. You can hear the Cryptarch guy talking.
Oh yeah.
In Loot Cave. That's pretty weird. It's funny. He talks about like the down. Even what is it like? Millions isn't enough to appease me. Something like that. People, if you don't know what I'm talking about, when they nerfed Loot Cave on Earth, they added a little Easter egg in that zone, and it sort of commemorates the area forever. At Master 1997, see, I said it better, not Vlaster, Master, was going around the tower and found these coins. Any input? And he sent us a picture of pictures from around the tower and the little coins. The input on the coins is this. There are 7 coins scattered throughout the tower. This is probably about 5 or 6 weeks old at this point. Right when the game launched, Deej tweeted out that these coins are in the tower, and that if you found all of them and sent him a picture, he would give you a special emblem to the first person who did that. But that is long over. We don't know what the significance of the coins are, though.
It's probably just an Easter egg. And you said how many are there?
7, because it's Bungie.
That's Bungie's lucky number. Yeah. So obviously,
there's a lot of people who didn't play Halo coming in who are like, 7? What's that? And we're like, bro, 7 on the 7th? What are you?
You don't even understand.
You don't even know, bro. MVito22, good friend of the show. He's the only person who completed our bounty from last week and sent us a sunset picture of his Titan. And it looks really good. So he played Titan on PS4. That was his class. Did you see the picture?
Awesome. Yeah, I did. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Beautiful sunset over the tower.
It was a good sunset. Well done. At Drew Pancake writes, I'd like to see you guys kind of do an overview of what you think should be added. Voice communication, raid matchmaking, etc. So I've got my short little list. While Ditty thinks of his, here's mine. I want to see voice communication added into the Crucible and raids as an option. You can tick it or you can not tick it. That way I have the idea. I want to see the clan in-game. Those are my 2 biggest things right now. Rest, we'll just wait and see how it comes. But really, if I can see clanmates in-game and they can see me, I'm going to be so much happier because I don't want to have to use our wall to coordinate that. It's a good segue too, guys. Check the link in the description for YouTube and the show notes for the Destiny the Show clan. There are people every week looking for raid partners. I can count on like not even 2 hands how many folks ask every week for groups who are doing the raid. And if they like just coordinated together, I'm sure they could make a party big enough to beat the raid 10 times over.
Yeah, I think I would agree with everything you said, my wants and needs, but clan in-game would be awesome, especially since I'm on the PlayStation. It's significantly smaller than the Xbox Destiny the Show clan, but still, I'd like to see my clan mates in-game, you know? I don't want to have to send friend requests or accept friend requests from, you know, hundreds of different people so that I can complete a raid. That doesn't make any sense. But definitely would like to see voice communication in the Crucible, just like it was in Halo. You know, you can plug in a mic or you don't have to plug in a mic. It doesn't matter. You know, I'd really like to see that.
I love proximity voice too. That's one of my favorite part of Bungie like multiplayer games. It would be awesome if you just get murdered or you murder somebody with a big super and you just hear them like laughing. as they get like a triple or something. Like,
oh baby, a triple.
it feels lonely. Like, it's weird how quiet it is. Like, after the match finishes, even if you just spanked them or got a good comeback, or even if you lost, like, I want to be able to opt into that at least.
Post-game lobbies are where the most smack talk happens, and
That's
it was
shooters.
awesome
That's
in
the
Halo.
fun, man.
Oh, you just got owned, dude, owned.
Oh, bottom fragger. Why don't you uninstall, kid? And that's like, that's part of shooters. Maybe they don't want to freak people out. They're like, oh, people being mean on the internet. We can't expose them to that.
Especially with the way the loot system rewards you at the end of PvP
yeah,
matches,
dude.
with like people who go 1 and 20 get the exotic, and the person who goes 20 and 1 gets like a green. They would rage so
The reaction
hard.
videos online would be hysterical. Like,
would
just
be
your,
awesome.
what got bad? Throwing stuff. I want to see that. At Palux writes us, just want to say I have the Vex. Lol, the nerf was fine, but not by 34%. I feel some of Legendary do just fine or even better. Dude, I told you we had a listener who has the Mythoclast. That's insane. Well, don't worry. You're going to get a little bit of a buff in PvE soon. Sorry they didn't give you back your PvP God Gun, but I don't know. It's kind of a fiasco if you ask me. Keep the Mythoclast awesome and just make it really rare to drop. That's all there is to it. If it's OP,
It's OP.
so be it. You know, there's got to be something OP in the game.
There were numbers put out for the Vault of Glass on hard. Like,
Yeah.
how many people? It was like 15,000 people out of the
Yeah.
3.2 million who play Destiny weekly.
Yeah.
It's like 15,000 people have completed it on hard. And since it's still a random drop in that, you know, maybe like half or a third of those get the Vex Mythoclast, right?
Yeah.
So it's like only 3,000 people out of 3.2 million have the Vex Mythoclast at this point. It's like, come on, guys.
It
you
would
know?
be an
It could
honor
awesome.
getting killed by that gun. Okay,
Seriously.
I've played a ton of Crucible this last week. Nope. Never a Mythoclast. Maybe it's because I just don't die. But really, I haven't seen a Mythoclast in matchmaking yet. At Stella King C writes, when Fallen speak, what do they say? I must know. What do you think they're saying, Ditty?
Wort.
What,
Just like the elites from Halo. You know, that's
Yeah.
what I think they're saying.
They're saying,
When's Master Chief coming out? When is that? I need to play that. I'm not paying for the DLC in this game. That's not cool.
I don't know.
Please, Guardian, let me help you. If you come looking for wise words, I shall try, but I ask you to turn them to action.
That's what came from Twitter, you guys. We are like basically running out of time, so I'm going to abbreviate our topic, man, a little bit. I wanted to talk about PvP short, because I played a ton in the last 2 weeks. I've been working, if I can do shameless self-promotion, I've been working really hard the last few weeks on a PvP tip video that's coming out today on my channel, because I've seen so many people, hey, this game is so unbalanced and PvP is all about the gear that you have, when it really isn't. And the complaints from those people are those who play this game like they play COD or Halo or Battlefield. And Destiny is its own beast. Like, I freaking love Crucible, dude. But it takes an entirely different mindset and play style than previous shooters to find success. And I guess that's what the video would really talk about. But what is your temperature on the Crucible? Because we've had now about a month, and I'm just curious.
Well, I've always been a free-for-all player.
Yeah.
And playing Halo and Call of Duty a lot. You know, Halo is a lot about map movement, but not so much. It's about power weapon and area control.
Yeah.
And, you know, making sure you have the most accurate shot. With Call of Duty, it's not about power weapon control at all. It's about map movement and how you position yourself around your enemies. And then in Destiny, it's like a nice mix because accuracy still matters, and obviously you want to control the heavy weapons because, oh my god, in Rumble, if you roll a rocket launcher in Rumble, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Like light machine guns or machine guns, whatever,
HMGs, they're HMGs.
heavy machine guns, they blow everything out of the water.
They're amazing.
It's a 3-bullet kill assault rifle.
It's free kills. When you pick up that purple box and you have an HMG, am I right in saying it is free freaking kills?
It's like the most OP thing in the game.
and
like,
people leave it on the map.
controlling the heavy weapon ammo spawns is just like the power weapon control in Halo.
Yes.
And then the map movement as well. So like how you use your movement ability, whether it be a blink or a triple jump or whatever, your glide if you're a warlock or a titan, you know, map movement matters. You know, I've been like shot down to one shot so many times and then just use my movement abilities to my advantage and outplay the enemy because of my map movement is just a little bit better. And it's a nice mix between accuracy and map movement. That's what I say Destiny is. And obviously super control is, I don't know. I haven't really
It's a part of it, but it's not that huge.
Supers. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we could talk for 10 minutes about supers. I almost want to leave it out. But just the amount of people who shoot bodies instead of headshots just shows to me there's a huge gap between the players who know how to play and those that don't. Because Destiny Crucible, the good players are shooting heads every time. Like, even at close distances, the headshot multiplier is what is going to win you 80 to 90% of your gunfights. If you're just shooting for the center of mass, like a lot of players do in Halo, like for Halo, 3 shots for the body, 1 for the head. That's what you're trained to do. That won't fly in Destiny. You'll get melted by other people and think it's like,
He's got a better gun than I do. Bungie, how dare you release this unbalanced game?
when it isn't the case. Like, you have to have supreme accuracy to succeed against strong players, especially like other team and big parties of teams. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Take, for example, I have a scout rifle with 15 bullets in a magazine, right?
Yes.
It takes 3 headshots to kill.
Yes.
I could theoretically optimize my kill potential to 5 kills per clip, right?
Yes.
Whereas scout rifle, same scout rifle, takes 7 shots to the body. That's half my magazine. So
yes.
Already I've gone from 5 kills to 2 kills for one magazine.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you really want, you know? You have to aim for that head.
And it should be noted, too, the hitboxes are bigger than the player models. I don't think a lot of players know this, but, like, the hitboxes in Destiny, it's not like CSGO. In CSGO, the hitboxes are smaller than the player models. In Destiny, hitboxes, I'm not going to say are substantially larger, but they're a bit larger. So you do have some leeway when you're aiming for the headshots. Yet, I still see people shooting feet or center of mass, like online YouTubers. There's so many who are like, I play Destiny all the time. And they're shooting, like, their stomachs, for goodness sake. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Especially if you have a scout rifle or a hand cannon, you can pace your shots. Like, come on, guys. You can do that.
Have you been watching Ninja play? He is exceptional because he knows the mechanics within the game, and his headshot accuracy is disgustingly good, you know?
I remember a beta video he put out. He went like 25-0 on a warlock. It was insane.
And I don't know. It's a complex PvP system that I think a lot of players who do badly instantly go, it's not balanced. Throw this down on the ground and I'm done. Success shouldn't come instantaneously. You need to work for it and play it differently. I know we're going a little bit over our time, and I'd love to talk about this more next week. But we're at that point in the show where people need to find out where they can find your content, Ditty.
Twitter.com/whooshness. YouTube is the same. And then twitch.tv/Ditty_. This weekend, I hope to do some streaming.
Ooh. Anything in particular?
It's going to be Destiny at first, because I'd like to give our listeners some content from me. I'd like to put out a Destiny video sometime this week as well, because I know I've just been doing Shadow of Mordor, because honestly, those are easy.
You got to get back on that Destiny video grind.
I have to.
Well, the DLC is actually not as far away as we think, so I can't believe that November is creeping up. Everybody listening, I want to say thank you. Podbean.com selected Destiny the Show to be featured on their homepage. We're still up there, which is pretty cool. So that's only possible with the listeners that we have. We thank you very, very much. And just for supporting Destiny the Show, we try and bring you, the best we can. Both of us are not full-timers at this, but I think we do a pretty good job, not to pat ourselves on the back,
I'll pat your back, you pat mine.
Okay, that works. I'm reaching through the screen right now. iTunes listeners, you guys get the show first. YouTube, it'll be up tomorrow. Visit DestinyTheShow.com for regular posts and updates. Email us, DestinyTheShow@gmail.com. We check it like once a week. Follow @DestinyTheShow on Twitter and tweet us to be featured on It Came From Twitter. You can follow me @BBKDragoon. Shameless self-promotion. I am putting out a Crucible tip video on the channel today, as I said. Would love it if you take a look. Also, the Destiny the Show clan, the link is available below this video or on our show website, DestinyTheShow.com. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Hey, I forgot to mention, there is no bounty this week. We're trying to make bounties a little bit more impactful and a bigger deal for people to complete, so we want to space them out a little bit more. Apologies if you were waiting for that. Don't worry, we're cooking up good stuff. Have a good week.